Hi, I'm an artist and also an avid user of Krita, and here's my list of favorite Krita brushes as of April 2026. First, before we start yapping about brushes and stuff, past me will be working on this painting over here in the background, and it will become the April wallpaper for the monthly wallpaper club, and you can check them out on YouTube membership or Ko-fi. Anyway, let's start from the default brush pack that comes with Krita itself, and don't let the word default fool you, because there are some really good ones there. So the very first one on this list is Charcoal Rock Soft, my first and maybe eternal love. So much so that we kinda had been in an exclusive one-on-one relationship, in terms of renderings of course, for a very long time. And I was pretty much using it for almost everything. It does great for a wide variety of textures, from smooth shiny to fluffy, from metal and gems to cloth and laces, even human-related textures like skin and hair, or even fur, like animal fur. We have been through it all together. And it can handle pretty much anything I wanted, except for one little niche, that is rough and uneven surfaces like rusty metal. That's like the only thing this brush falls short on, and everything else so great to the point that if I can only use one single brush for the rest of my life, it will be this one. I am serious, yeah. And you might ask, if that's the case, then why this video even existed, and being so long at that as well? Well, the thing is, I feel really safe and secure with this brush. Like, if I don't know what brush to use, I know this one will always deliver. And one tiny problem with feeling safe and secure is that it might give you the courage to venture out further and further away. Because I know there is a safe cushion for me to fall back on, So that's why the list has gone on quite long, like that. And by the way, if this story is about another sentient being, you guys should really consider canceling me right away. But since it's a brush, so it's fine, please don't. Anyway, next, a brush called Shape Fill, which is basically lasso fill, and it fills in line art beautifully and efficiently. Every time I use it, I wonder why past me used to think that filling with a hard brow brush was a good idea. Anyway, I'm sure that you guys know how great it is, even better than I do. So if you guys ever wonder where lasso fill is in Krita, it is this brush called Shape Fill. Please spread the word wide and far, because apparently not a lot of people know about this. And speaking of line art, this ink for pen rough is something I use a lot when I have to do line art, like for these book covers and illustration. And as the name suggests, this brush has a slightly rough texture, and I really like it because it emulates the vibe of old ink drawings pretty well, like when the papers are quite thin and permeable, so the ink line will feather out a little bit, The roughness of this brush is really similar to that kind of effect, and that's why I use it a lot, because I like it. I like that kind of effect. Next, still on the topic of line art, let's talk about a recent discovery, which is the worn-out G pen from the Ink Pro Artist Pack. And by the way, I will leave the link for all the brush packs I mentioned today in the description box, so you can check them out there. So this is a brush that I just discovered recently when I did the clean line art video. What's good about this one is its versatility. Being light-handed with it will give you this thin and very delicate line, like when there is not much ink left in the pen, just like the name, worn out. But applying more pressure will give you thicker and cleaner line, so you have quite a lot of range to play around with here. Personally, I enjoy the delicate, almost running out ink look more, but I can still get thicker line really easily without changing brushes, and that is very convenient. So the same pack still has a lot of other pen brushes, but I haven't fully discovered them all yet, because I don't really do that much line art recently after all. But if you guys have had experience with them, please share yours down below in the comment section. And this applies to all other packs on this list as well. The more people review them, the better. Anyway, this pack also has a lot of marker brushes, and my favorite is the medium one. And to be honest, I think the only difference between all of these is the size, so you can pretty much use any of them and adjusting the size as needed. Well, except for the brush marker one, that one have a different brush tip. So I use this brush all the time to doodle my avatar in all the video thumbnails, and they look like this. What I like about this one is, and I think I have said this before, is how soft and squishy the vibe is, like really fun, a little bit childish, not too serious, and exactly the right environment to be dumb and silly and draw all of these faces. So yeah, 10 out of 10 doodle enjoyment. Next up is the brushes for rendering, which is, something we do a lot here on this channel, so there will be a bunch of them. And the first pack here is the charcoal KA. There are a lot of charcoal related brushes here, like from charcoal pencils to smudging brushes, but personally I don't use those a lot, so I will only talk about the rendering brushes here. And my favorite are the 11, the 12, the 16 and the 17 one. And out of this, my absolute favorite is, and I think you may already know, the charcoal 12 combed hard with no tilt, which just means the brush will change size depending on how much you tilt your pen on the tablet. And if you want to know how to customize your brush, you can check out this timestamp I left on the screen in this video. Anyway, coming back to the actual brush, the reason why I really enjoy this brush is because the texture is really consistent, no matter how big or small the actual size is. Like painting with this feels like you are actually using some kind of pastel on a medium to rough textured paper. Yeah. And for more of me raving about this brush, you can visit this video, which is exclusively about this brush alone. And I know the festive vibe may be a little bit mismatched from April, but the info is still good. So yeah, give it a try if you want to. Next is the other three brushes. The 11 one is a new discovery, which past me was actually using to paint this piece right here. And this one has really rough texture, and you will have to press down a little bit to make the stroke really opaque. So to compare to some traditional art materials, maybe it is similar to a rather hard pastel with medium to low color payoff when used on a highly textured paper. Yeah. The 16 one on the other hand is incredibly soft. So soft to the point that in real life it will be similar to the kind of soft pastel that leaves a tons of powder residue on your hand, on the drawing surface and in the air. And they will blend together effortlessly and beautifully, and maybe a little bit too effortlessly, so beware of the mess. And the last one, the 17 one, is somewhere in between the 11 and the 16, being light-handed, and it will give some textures, like not super rough, but not also super fine either, a pleasant in between. But the weird thing happens when you layer them until totally opaque. Suddenly it looks kinda wet, like oil paint or something like that. Or is this just my imagination? I don't really know anymore. Anyway, the next one is a memileo impasto brush pack. Yes, those insane brushes that literally look like super thick paint, which till this day I am still blown away by how legit they all look. And you can watch my first impression when I just discovered this insane pack over here, by the way. So they look like oil paint or heavy body acrylic paint, and when applying one color on top of another light-handedly, they will mix together like actual paint. There will be a little color jitter between different brushstrokes, so the color will be a little bit unexpected, sometimes pleasantly and sometimes not so much. And the best of them all, it is free. Well, actually everything on this list is free, like I forgot to mention that, so that is a very beautiful thing. So the biggest downside of this pack is how heavy it is in terms of computing power, because it looks like that, of course it will be kinda laggy. And my tip for this is trying to use them in smaller size, and maybe even downsize your canvas as well, like to avoid as much lag as possible, because I think this is something really worth giving a try. Like even if you are not a fan of thick paint, just the experience of using these brushes with your own two hands is already worth a try, in my opinion. So please download them and paint and play around with them. You don't even need to paint with them. Because another not so good thing about this pack is how intimidating they can be to actually paint with. And personally, in my experience, you can start with some of the softer textured ones, like the number 1, the number 4, 8 or 9, and any of them is fine because they are all a little bit tamer compared to the rest, and they are a little bit easier to predict. So yeah, start with them, and maybe just using one at a time so that you won't be too overwhelmed. Next is a very new discovery, and it is awez contaminated brush pack, which, by the way, I am really sorry I don't know how to pronounce the name. I tried to look it up, but I just got more confused the more I searched, so I apologize. Anyway, this pack has this kind of two-toned brushes, and with one main color and one contaminated color. And here's how to use them because it is a little bit complicated. So you click on this square on top of the screen over here, like the one on the most left, and normally it is on the foreground to transparent. So you need to choose foreground to background, and now your main color will be the foreground color, which is the color we normally picked on the color wheel over here, and the contaminated one is the background color. And you can change it by going to these two squares over here and click on the bottom one, and it will say background color selector when hovered over. Then you can choose the contaminated colors of your choice in this window over here. So my favorite brush from this pack is the brush C, and the reason being, when painted really high-handedly, it has this kind of deliciously rough texture, which I love so freaking much. And I discovered this when I did the 10-minute pudding, and look at the background, look at the metal wall, oh, chef kiss, passionate chef kiss. I love it so much. Anyway, and I think it will be so beautiful to add some pretty delicious texture before rendering, because yeah, I don't really like using it for rendering, because I couldn't really blend colors the way I want to with it. That's how I use this in this very painting you are seeing over here. I don't know if you noticed that, because it was in the pre-render phase and we are now way past that phase already, but yeah, you can go back and check. The next one is another pretty new discovery. It is the Metallics by Draneria, which again, I am really sorry that I butchered the name. Anyway, to be honest, I don't have a lot of experience with this pack yet, but I still decided to include it because I saw potential. So this is a special effect brush pack for metallic and shiny texture. And there are glitters, a lot of them, like glitter pen, loose glitter, dense glitter, all of them. And then there are metallic paint, like metallic acrylic paint, which depending on the colors, it can look like gold, silver or copper or pretty much anything. There are different types of brushes with really heavy and different textures. And there is this one called Void Fill Crumble, which looks so convincing as gold leaf. And this is the reason why I wanted to introduce this to you guys so much, because imagine how classy any piece of art will become with the power of gold leaf or silver leaf or any kind of precious metal leaf of your choice. Think about it, think about all the possibilities. Oh my god. And to be honest, looking at all of this, and also the memileo pack, I still wonder how something like this could even exist in the first place, let alone free for us to use. Am I entering some kind of forbidden contract with some other worldly entities by using them? Should I be worried? Should I not? Because if signing something shady allows me to use something like this, to be frank, I am tempted. And at this point, whatever, just take my soul, I guess. Yeah. And there are a lot of cute shiny star stamps as well. I forgot to mention that, but they are cute, and I think they can be used in quite a lot of different circumstances. So yeah, that is good. And finally, texture brushes. And personally, my philosophy about them is the more the merrier. So here are some packs I currently have, but I am willing to take more in. So please recommend them if you have more. The first one is the Fizzy Flower Essential Pack. You might already know about this one as I have talked about it in the rendering video. But if you haven't heard of it yet, this pack have a lot of brushes, like from tiny bird, tiny fishes, tiny human, to zipper, chains, building, laces, you name it, the pack might have it. The next one is Lily Mist collection, which has less brushes, but some really good ones like this glitter or tiny star. And then there is this really fun brush called Magical Particles too, and the more you paint with it, the lighter it gets. Like it looks, really magical and maybe a little bit cosmic, like this. Yeah. And the third one is the ink tea, which I think stands for ink texture, but not so sure though. Anyway, it has a lot of cross hatching, splat ink textures, and a fingerprint one too. Okay, fine. I'm not questioning anything. I think it will be good texture. Yeah, and of course, don't forget to check the texture tag from the default Krita pack as well, because again, with texture, you can never really have enough of them, and there are also some screen tone brushes there as well, just in case any of you guys is drawing manga or comic. And anyway, I think that's it. Yeah, let's look at the painting before we go, shall we? Okay, so that's the brush list. Didn't really expect it could get this long. Me from 2 years ago would be so intimidated looking at all of this. But anyway, don't forget this painting will be the April wallpaper, which you can get for $3 a month either on YouTube membership or Ko-fi. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Hope you get something useful out of this video, and also hope you have a great day/night ahead, and see you later.